Google's second quarter profits are up 11%, beating Wall Street's estimates and sending the stock up in after-hours trading. Hi there, I'm Lauren Rutzer in San Francisco. Joining me today is Dan Gallagher. So Dan, what is driving Google's profits up this quarter?
Well, they had a really good growth in what's called paid clicks, search queries and everything. There was some decrease in cost per clicks. That's something we saw last quarter. That indicates a little bit weaker pricing, but that's kind of indicative of the shift going on. I think you're seeing the stock reaction because there was a lot of fear that it was going to be a lot worse. We're in a weak economy. Europe is especially bad. And so when they brought in those numbers, even though the top line was a little bit weaker than what Wall Street looked for, it was not as bad as people had feared it might be. And I think that's what's sending the shares up a little bit.
So how did the Motorola Mobility acquisition play into earnings this quarter?
Well, it added some revenue, about a little over $1.2 billion in revenue, but it was what's called a tabbed quarter, so it didn't include the entire quarter of Motorola since they didn't close the deal until May 22nd. So it's really hard to do a comparison between like what Motorola was doing in the same period last year because it's apples and oranges. But it did also generate a loss for them, and I don't think anybody was surprised at that. Motorola was a loss-making company when they bought them, and they bought them primarily for the patents. So I don't think there was a lot of surprises in the Motorola numbers, and I think Wall Street might get a little more comfortable seeing how they're going to report them and discuss them.
Did Google mention anything on the call about trying to get more into monetizing mobile ad revenue?
It's clearly a big target for them. They didn't give a lot of details on breakouts of revenues that they get through mobile devices, but they talked about how mobile is becoming as core as desktop search is. They realize this. That's a big part of their investments in Android. And a lot of the other investments they're making. So they're working pretty hard on this field, but they don't really break out specific results to kind of gauge how they're doing.
And did they talk at all about plans for the Nexus 7, the tablet computer that they just unveiled a couple weeks ago?
Not much was said on the call. I think it's still planned to go on sale a little bit later this month. I think it'll take some time to see how that plays out for them. I don't think it's going to be a very big revenue contributor for them, and they're clearly selling it at relatively thin margins. So I think they're trying to get into this device business, branded devices, and see how it does, to showcase their latest Android. But beyond that, it'll be kind of hard to see how it plays into the numbers.
All right, great. Thanks very much, Dan. I've been speaking with Dan Gallagher, and in San Francisco, I'm Lauren Rutzer.